For my DSARI project, I took a tour of the biomass energy plant called Koda Energy, which is located in Shakopee, Minnesota, about 40 minutes southwest of campus. Some quick background on Koda is that it is derived from a joint partnership between the Shakopee Midwakaton Sioux community, which is the tribe that owns Mystic Lake Casino, and Raw Malting Company, which is actually intentionally built right next to because they have a sort of relationship that they go back and forth with that I'll explain later. Construction of the plant started in 2007, but it wasn't operational until 2009. And a fun fact is that it's the only combined heat and power plant in the US that burns exclusively biomass in suspension. And there's only one other in the world that's located in Thailand, but is nowhere near as big. These are a few pictures. The one on the top right is a bird's eye view of the entire facility. It's pretty large. And then the bottom left is their control room, where they always have 3 different people on staff as a way to make sure everything is being controlled appropriately and held up to standard. And the plant runs 24 hours, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. So it's able to continuously generate energy through biomass combustion. A little bit on their special relationship with RAR. It's a symbiotic one where it benefits both sides. And so it starts with RAR refining their barley plants to produce malt, which is all of what they do. They just produce malt. And then the bioproducts, like all the excess barley and everything, is sent in a pipe to Koda where it is refined and then combusted to produce electricity, but it also produces excess heat, which is used to heat a glycol fluid as a means of heat storage, which is then sent back to RAR, and they use this heat to refine their barley plants, which is fascinating because their byproducts from both processes is what's powering the main process of the other one. So it just keeps going back and forth, exchanging heat for biomass, basically, and then both sides are benefiting greatly from this relationship, and they're built right next to each other, so it's pretty convenient. In terms of their biomass collection, 75% comes from Minnesota and the 4 surrounding states, 10% comes straight from RAR, and it is their largest expense by far, where they spend $8.5 million every year just to get the biomass to their facility. And they go through about 176,000 tons of biomass every year, which equates to about $50 per ton, which is a relatively decent rate because they're getting it from such local sources. These are a few pictures of their storage part of the facility. And as you can see, they have a lot stored up because it is a little bit more difficult to access it in the winter. So they were preparing when I toured. And then on the bottom, these grates are where the entire process is started, where it's after these grates, it's set on a conveyor belt to a different part where it's refined and then eventually combusted. In terms of their energy production, they create 2,500 mega BTUs of heat every day, and that's all sent to RAR by the glycol fluid. They generate 420 megawatt hours of electricity every day. 1/3 of it is used to power the Koda and RAR facilities, and the remaining is all sold to XL. And I found online that an average house uses 900 kilowatt hours of electricity every month. So the excess energy they send to XL is used to power almost 10,000 homes every day in the surrounding area. In terms of safety, there was an explosion in 2013 where a single wood chip caught a spark in a storage silo, and then just because everything is biomass, it just is very flammable, and then it built up enough pressure inside the storage silo to explode, and it blew up almost half the facility and created $5 million in damage from a single spark. So they redesigned the facility with a lot more safety concerns in mind, and as you can see on the bottom left, this box in purple, all of the red squares are spark detectors and all of the blue triangles are extinguishing devices. So they're really prepared if something like this were to ever maybe happen again. So they're ready. And then I'm going to go through a very quick outline of the entire process. So we start at number 1, where they get the biomass at the facility. Then 2, it's sorted depending on if it's wood, oat, barley, anything. 3, it's conveyed to a different part of the facility. Where 4, it gets ground up into a fine powder. And 5 is where they quality check it. They make sure that the powder is of the correct density and everything. And then it goes down to 6 when it is into the fine powder where it has a large enough surface area so that it can combust easily is where it gets put in the big yellow structure in 6, which is where it is actually combusted and creates heat, which drives the turbine in step 7. The steam turbine spins, and that creates electricity, which is stored in the generator. And then 8 is where all of the excess heat from the process is sent over to RAR using the glycol fluid. These are my references. I met with Stacy Cook on the bottom here. He's the vice president of operations and the general manager, and he oversaw the construction of the entire facility, and that's who I met with, and he's very knowledgeable. So a big thanks to him for letting me tour the entire facility by myself, along with him and then a few of the other workers. And that's it. Thank you.